The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selina MacKenzie.
Now you know that feeling when you walk into a room and everything just feels right. Well, Feng Shui expert Kimberly Gallagher combines ancient wisdom with modern neurodesign principles to help you create a home that feels calm, balanced and uplifting. And we're lucky to have her joining us now. Welcome to the show, Kimberly.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So how does it actually work? I've never really understood Feng Shui. What does it mean?
So Feng Shui is like acupuncture for the home. So it absorbs negative energy and it just lets this lovely positive energy flow again in your home. And the aim is to have a calmer and happier home, because when energy gets stuck, that's when we get this feeling of frustration, or maybe we feel that things are just going round and round in circles in the home. So my job is almost like an out with the old and in with the new feeling of this lovely fresh energy in the home.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, I've walked into people's houses and I don't know if they've actively done Feng Shui, but I've just felt really, really nice in it. It just felt like everything was where it should be, you know, not necessarily just neat. It just felt, like you say, calm, I guess.
Totally. And it can have great Feng Shui in a studio apartment, or it can be, you know, a big house, and it's not necessarily how it looks. And we often rent a home or purchase a home based on the feeling. We walk in and we're like, this feels amazing, or we turn it down based on the feeling. And I think what happens is, over time, when we live in a space, we sometimes forget that feeling that we had when we first moved in, and it all becomes quite transactional. So the kitchen is where you cook, and the living room is where you watch your favourite Netflix, you know, show, whatever it is at night time. And we forget that actually this space, it's like people, you know, you surround yourself with positive people, you pick up that positivity. And so to try and keep that energy as great as it can be in the home is really important for your mental health, and also just for how you get on with everybody in your house as well.
And is it right that certain things should be in certain places? Like I've heard that mirrors should be in a certain direction, or is that just a fallacy?
No, it's true. And I think sometimes Feng Shui can get really complicated because we've got about 1 million rules. But mirrors are something that people ask a lot about because they bounce energy around. And so there's some places that mirrors are okay, and somewhere I'd say, let's try not to have them. So probably places where I wouldn't have them would be, as you walk in your front door, try not to have a mirror directly opposite the front door, because as the energy is coming in, it wants to stay. And so if there's a mirror there, it's just going to bounce that energy back out again. And so we don't want that. We want the energy to stay and for it to filtrate all the way around the home. Now, the second place where it gets a bit trickier is in bedrooms. And, you know, sleeping in, you know, I'm in my 40s, female, you know, sleeping goes a bit, you know, down the pan a little bit. And what can happen is our bedroom's just got too much energy going around it. It's bouncing around, and the mirrors are speeding that up. They're speeding the energy around the room. So if you feel that you're in a room where you can't relax, then I would say just have a look at that mirror placement. Is it opposite your bed, for example? Because that can then create this, you know, if we could see energy, it would make my job so much easier. But if you can imagine these sort of waves passing over you whilst you're trying to sleep, it makes it, you know, really quite difficult. So the thing to remember with Feng Shui is, if everything is great in your life, you know, you don't necessarily need to use some of these tweaks or these, you know, this sort of philosophy. But there are many, many super successful people around the world that just take little bits of Feng Shui, implement it into their homes and businesses, and it makes a huge difference.
You mentioned as well earlier about decluttering. I assume it's literally decluttering. I mean, if we have too much stuff that we don't need, then does that block the energy?
Totally. That's exactly it. And, you know, we often see online all these decluttering books or, you know, reels and things like that. And the reason why it feels so good, and we all know it feels great when we've had a good declutter, although sometimes it can be quite hard to do it. But it's simply the fact that the more stuff that's in the way, the harder it is for energy to move around your space. And I'm not saying you need to live in a house or a home or a flat that's got no characteristics, no decor whatsoever, but it just needs to be able to have a flow of energy around. And a good rule of thumb is, if you were to move house, would you take it with you? And that's a rule that I always stick to. And if you're not going to take it with you, then really does it need to be in your current home at the moment?
And what about plants, Kimberly? Because they are living, can they influence the energy in the room?
Yeah, they're great for bringing life and energy into a space. And that's what Feng Shui is about, just bringing this lovely feeling of flow into a home. And plants can really do that, especially the right plants. So you want lovely, soft green leaves. So not necessarily, not cacti, because cacti can bring quite a sharp energy. We try and steer away from artificial plants. And I know whenever I say that, I can literally hear everybody go, oh no. And, I live in Australia at the minute, so it's really hard to keep plants alive because it's so warm, but just stick to ones that are soft, that bring an upward energy into the space, because anything spiky can bring a tricky energy. Anything that's artificial can bring almost a feeling of that life is stagnant, and we don't want that. Life needs to be flowing forwards.
My mum used to have a cactus plant when I was a child, and every time me or my sister walked past it, it used to spit at us. It literally used to spit it, and I swear to God, it used to spit its needles at us. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I don't know why anybody'd want one.
That's a strong energy.
It is, isn't it? It is, definitely. Not nice. How about colours? I remember I was going to do, in my last house, my bedroom blue, and I was advised not to because it would make the bedroom seem cold. And in actual fact, it was a very pale blue and it was lovely.
Yeah, so again, I feel that colours in the home is like building a recipe, and just like in food, some people like spicy food, some people like creamier food, and it's the same in your home. Like each of these colours brings a different feeling. And so blue it depends on your personality. So blue can be very, very calm. It's a very calming colour. It's the colour of the ocean. It represents the water element. But too much blue, like a darker navy blue, can, that saying, you've got the blues, it can really bring the mood down and make it quite depressive. Now, if you're an upbeat person, then that might not impact you. But perhaps if you do suffer from low mood, low motivation, that maybe like a deep blue isn't for you. And it's the same looking at reds, like the fire colours. If you are somebody that runs on anxiety, that gets overwhelmed very easily, having these fire colours probably isn't the best idea, because it's going to give too much energy to the space. Whereas if, on the other hand, we're talking about the blues, if you suffer with low motivational, you just feel that there's no passion, there's no creativity, then adding some of those fire colours could maybe give you that lift that you really need. So I know Feng Shui has a lot of no-nos, and it can be really, really strict. And I think that's where what I've tried to do is bring this modern twist on it and actually say, do you know what? There's so many more layers to it. It's been around for 4,000 years. We only talk about this really sliver of, sort of top-end information, whereas actually if you go down, it can be really adapted to everybody's homes. And you walk into my home and you think, is she really a Feng Shui expert? I'm a mum, my office at the minute, there's loads of stuff everywhere, we've got a dog, we live in it, it's a home, and that's really important, that you feel comfortable in your home and that your decor represents what brings you joy and happiness, not somebody else.
Yeah. And another thing we're talking about a lot more now is neurodivergence. So I would imagine that Feng Shui would help somebody with a neurodiverse mind.
Totally. Anything that's overly sensory in the home, where there's too much going on, can make it really hard for people to relax. And so having a calm space can help everybody in the home feel that they can switch off at the end of the day. You know, especially with children, if they've been at school and they're full of artificial lighting and all this noise, all of this chaos, it's really important that when they come home, that they can switch off, that they have a space that's theirs where they can control what's around them. And again, talking about what you like you liked your pale blue wall. Neurodiverse minds, some people may feel really calm around those fire colours because it's matching their sort of their personal element, or somebody else may feel calm around blue colours. And so it's about taking what people love and everybody having a spot in their home that's theirs, whether it's their, you know, like a heavy weighted blanket, or you may have things around the home that helps everybody as well. I talk about landing pads in my book, where when you do have something like ADHD, where your mind is, you know, going a million miles an hour, to have a space where you put all of your things, like your keys, your lanyard, your earpods, like, so that every day you put it back there. And there's just, I think what we need to do is talk about home design in a way that suits everybody, rather than what necessarily suits what an architect might think sort of fits that building.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, for our listeners, you can buy the book right now from our website, TRE.radio. It's called The Calm and Happy Home, How to Bring Good Vibes into Your Home and Life. It's by Kimberly Gallagher, who we're chatting to now. And do you have a website as well, Kimberly?
Yes, I do. It's thefengshuiflow.com.
Great stuff. I must ask you, if you're in Australia, is it late at night?
Yeah, it is. It's 20 to 1.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for staying up. Go to bed.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.